I discovered that my stepdaughter had been manipulated by her biological father into investing her tuition money in a fake startup project. "Why don't you just disappear?" my stepdaughter said during a fight. Her mother joined in. "We'd be better off without you." I didn't say anything, I had just packed my suitcases. This morning, my phone exploded with 13 missed calls. Something seemed strange when I strolled into our living room. The house was abnormally silent, but that wasn't all. My gaze swept over the room, attempting to determine what was wrong. Then it struck me. All of our family photos looked different. I took a step closer to the enormous frame above the fireplace, which was from our trip to Yellowstone last year. The photo was present, but I wasn't. Every photo of me had been painstakingly erased, creating embarrassing gaps in family memories spanning the previous 3 years. I was standing there, my coffee cup becoming cold, when I heard Stella's upstairs door softly close. My stepdaughter's footsteps stopped at the top of the stairs. She had obviously seen I was awake. After a brief pause, she walked down, phone in hand, purposefully avoiding eye contact as she headed toward the kitchen. "Morning," I said, my tone calm. The hush that followed was thick with intention. 3 years. That was how long I'd been in Stella's life. 3 years of gradually establishing trust, of movie nights and math homework assistance, of attempting to be present without going too far. At the age of 16, she began to drift away. I expected ordinary teenage rebellion, but this seemed different. It began last week, when I offered to assist her with her chemistry project. She'd been grappling with the subject, and I figured it didn't matter what I thought. Her remark was like a slap. "Stop pretending you care about my grades. You're not my real dad." I'd heard variants of that before, but something about her tone was different, sharp and intentional. My wife, Delilah, was in the kitchen and must have heard, but she did not say anything. That quiet felt like taking sides. The tension grew over the week. Small things. Dishes left in the sink, with pointed looks. Doors close a little too harshly. Conversations halted when I entered the rooms. Delilah also became distant, avoiding my attempts to clarify what was going on. "She's just being a teenager, Thomas. Don't make it about you." But everything burst last night. Stella was texting during supper, which goes against our customary norms. When I gently reminded her, she threw down her phone. "God, why are you always policing everything I do? Why can't you just leave me alone?" "Stella," I said. "I'm just trying to..." "To what? Play dad?" "I already have one." She stood up, the chair scratching against the floor. "Why don't you just disappear? Nobody asked you to try so hard. It's pathetic." I looked at Delilah, not sure what I was expecting. Support? Mediation? Instead, she placed her fork down and calmly murmured, "Maybe we'd all be better off if you did." The words hung in the air, like smoke. 3 years of memories flew through my mind. The day Stella first laughed at one of my dad jokes, the night she called me in tears after her first boyfriend broke up with her, and Delilah's proud smile when Stella requested me, not her mother, to help her pick out her prom outfit. I stood up slowly, my food half finished. "Okay," I replied simply. "Okay, what?" Stella demanded. But something flickered in her eyes. Uncertainty, perhaps. "If that's how you both feel, okay?" I strolled upstairs to our bedroom and took out my old duffel bag. I could hear them whispering downstairs, but no one came up while I gathered enough clothes for a few days. I saw that my hands were not shaking. I felt strangely relaxed. Stella had already left, most likely to her room, when I arrived. Delilah stood at the kitchen doorway, arms crossed. "So you're just leaving? That's your solution?" "You said you'd be better off," I responded, looking for my keys and wallet. "I'm respecting that." "That's not, I didn't mean..." She paused. Pride, wrath, or something else kept her from saying what she wanted to say. I took up my purse. "I'll be at Ryan's. I'll figure out something more permanent soon." I hesitated at the doorway. "You know, when Stella said those things before, it hurt. But hearing you agree? That broke something, Del." I drove to Ryan's apartment in solitude. He looked at me and immediately set up his guest room. That's the type of friend he is. I turned off my phone and took a sleeping pill from my emergency travel box. This morning, I awoke to find sunlight flowing through unfamiliar drapes. When I eventually turned on my phone, it was filled with notifications. 13 missed calls, 8 from Delilah, 3 from Stella, and 2 from Quinn, my sister. 27 text messages, 4 voicemails, I have not listened to them yet. I'm sitting in Ryan's guest room, watching the morning traffic below, and thinking about the empty places in our family portraits. Maybe they were always there, but I didn't want to see them. My phone vibrates again. It's Stella. After everything that has transpired, I find myself staring at her name on the screen, wondering what is so necessary right now. But I am not ready. Not yet. Walking away isn't always the hardest part, it's deciding whether to walk back. Update 1. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everyone who left positive comments on my previous post. I did not expect such a large response. To answer the most common questions, yes, I have read the messages. No, I have not responded to any of them yet. And yes, I am still at Ryan's. This morning began like the others, me pretending to focus on work while glancing at my phone, debating if I should break the stillness. Then Ryan dropped a bomb during breakfast. Miles is back in town, he announced, sliding his phone across the table. On Facebook, there was a photo of Stella's biological father posted at a local restaurant. 2 weeks ago? The same Miles who hasn't paid child support for 3 years. The same Miles who had missed Stella's last 4 birthdays. Suddenly, everything made sense. I scrolled through my messages again. Delilah's communications have evolved, from angry to, very mature, Thomas. Instead of talking, run away. To the concerned, please let us know you're fine. To something more complicated. Her most recent read, there's something you need to know. It's Stella, please call. Quinn arrived about lunchtime, ready with coffee and that no-nonsense expression she gives when she's about to meddle in my affairs. You look like hell, she said, sliding into Ryan's couch. Thanks. Always good to see you too, sis. She did not smile. I ran into Stella at the mall yesterday. That caught my interest. How is she? Meeting Miles. For coffee? She didn't see me, Quinn said, observing my reaction closely. She looked hopeful. You know that look she gets, like when she's trying not to get too excited about something? I understood exactly what she meant. It's the same expression Stella had when she was accepted to the summer camp last year, as if she was terrified to believe something good was happening. Did you know he's been messaging her for months? Quinn asked. Promising to make things right this time? My stomach turned. I checked Stella's Instagram, which I rarely do. Her most recent post was a snapshot of her and Miles. Caption. Real family time. Her friends' replies were loaded with heart emoticons, and none of them were aware of the background. Ryan, who had been quietly listening, eventually piped up. Remember what happened last time he showed up? Stella was 13. I remembered. Miles had arrived with huge promises, stayed for 2 weeks, and then vanished again. Stella remained in bed for several days afterward. Delilah and I spent months regaining her trust and assuring her that she was enough. That she deserved more. As if on cue, my phone lit up with a text message from Delilah. He's asking her to move in with him. She's actually considering it. Please, Thomas. I know you're angry with me, but she needs you. I began typing multiple responses. I deleted them all. What could I possibly say? Sorry, you told me to disappear, but now you need me to reappear? The entire event seemed like a terrible joke. Then followed another notification. Stella's latest Instagram post, a photo of college brochures scattered across her bed. The headline reads, Big change is coming. Sometimes you have to choose your real path. Miles said those precise words 3 years ago, right before he traveled across the country to pursue his true passion and stopped returning Stella's calls. Quinn must have noticed something on my face. What are you thinking? I glanced at my phone, reading Delilah's message. Then I quietly said, I'm thinking about the day I married Delilah. Remember what Stella said in her speech? How sometimes family finds you when you're not looking for it. Quinn nodded. And now, I sighed. Now she's posting about her real family and her real path while Miles plays Father of the Year. He's got her convinced. My phone began to ring, and I came to a stop. Unknown number. Thomas, this is Miss Anderson from Riverside High. I'm Stella's guidance counselor. I know this is unusual, but I need to speak with you about some concerning changes in Stella's academic plans and recent behavior. Would you be able to come in tomorrow morning? I consented to the meeting, my thoughts racing. Stella had maintained straight A's since freshman year, anxious to attend a good institution. What might have changed? Quinn and Ryan both looked at me expectantly as I hung up. So? Quinn asked. I think it's time to stop being silent. I took up my phone and eventually opened Stella's voicemail. Her voice was low, unlike her normal assurance. I know you probably hate me now, and I get it. I need to tell you something. About why I said those things. About Miles. Please call me back. Something in her voice reminded me of the 13-year-old girl who would check the mailbox every day, hoping for a letter that never arrived. I have a meeting with the guidance counselor tomorrow at 9 o'clock. After that, I believe it is time for some honest conversations. Because disappearing occasionally allows you to view things more clearly from a distance. The school's number is still shown on my screen. Next to it is a text notification from Miles to our family group chat, which I am still a part of. Great news! Big announcement at dinner tomorrow night. I have a feeling I know what the announcement will be. And I will not let history repeat itself. Update 2. I spent the last hour figuring out how to write this update. The meeting with Miss Anderson showed something I had not expected. And what happened next? Well, let me start at the beginning. I arrived at Riverside High early and observed students rushing to the first period. A couple of Stella's classmates knew me, and their quick glances and murmurs informed me that stories about my absence had already circulated. Miss Anderson did not waste time after I sat down. Stella submitted paperwork to withdraw from her advanced placement classes yesterday, she explained, sliding a form across her desk. She's also dropping out of the French club and student council. When I asked why, she said she's transferring schools next semester. My chest tightened. Stella battled hard to get into these programs. She had been counting on extracurricular activities to help her college applications. There's more, Miss Anderson added. Last week, she asked me to send her transcripts to 3 different schools. All in California. She halted and attentively observed me. The same city where Miles recently purchased property. That's when things started falling into place. I brought out my phone and showed her Miles' huge announcement text. Let me guess. He's opening a new business out there. She nodded. Stella mentioned something about a startup. Said her father needs family investors to get it off the ground. The usual, nauseous feeling returned. The same one I received 3 years ago, when Miles persuaded Delilah to lend him money for a sure-thing business endeavor. We never saw the money again. I left the school and drove directly to our house. Delilah's automobile was in the driveway. I could see her pacing in the kitchen with a phone to her ear. She saw me and ran to answer the door before I could knock. He asked her for money, she replied promptly. Her college fund. He's been filling her head with promises about this tech startup. Saying that if she invests now, she'll make enough to pay for any college she wants. Where is she? Coffee with Miles. Again. Delilah's voice broke. I tried telling her it's a scam, but she accused me of being jealous. That he's finally stepping up. She said at least he believes in her dreams. I sat down at the kitchen counter, the identical location where everything collapsed a week ago. Why didn't you tell me he was back? I tried to handle it myself. She exhaled. I wondered if I could keep them apart. She shook her head. Then you and Stella got into an argument and she said terrible things, and I just panicked. I sided with her because I was terrified not to. She'd go all in for him. Before I could react, the front door opened. Stella walked in. She froze when she saw me. She looked different. Makeup applied carefully. Stella was dressed in an expensive jacket Miles had most likely purchased for her. But her eyes were crimson. What are you doing here? She asked. However, her voice lacked its typical sharpness. Are you dropping your AP courses, really? I kept my tone gentle. What happened to Stanford? Plans change, she murmured, avoiding my gaze. Dad says. Miles says, I said gently. Something flickered on her face. He has connections out there. The startup is guaranteed to. As if the classic car dealership were guaranteed? Or a food truck franchise? I took out my laptop and opened the documents that I had spent the morning gathering. I did some digging. Want to know Miles' current company registration status, or his credit report? Or about the 3 ongoing cases from his previous guaranteed investment opportunity? Stella's hands trembled as she grabbed the laptop. With each click and document, the careful facade cracked a little more. When she reached the lawsuit filed by his prior stepdaughter's grandmother to collect college funds he had borrowed, the first tear flowed. He said. She swallowed hard. He said he had changed. He wants to make up for lost time. That we could be a true family if. She paused and looked up at me. A photo album. He stated I needed to prove I was choosing him. That you were the reason he remained away. You took his place. Oh, sweetie, Delilah approached, but Stella stepped back. I knew, she said quietly. I guess I knew. But I desperately wanted to believe. Her phone vibrated. Miles sent another SMS. She stared at it for a long time before shutting it off entirely. I have to go, she murmured quickly, rushing for the stairs. I need to think. We let her leave. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do is provide space. Hours have passed. Delilah and I talked, truly talked, for the first time in weeks. Regarding worries and blunders. About Stella, Miles. About us. Around midnight, I was preparing to return to Ryan's when my phone lit up with a text from Stella. I messed up. Everything's messed up. Can we talk? I mean, really talk? Not about Miles or money or anything, just, remember when we used to have ice cream after my dancing classes and you'd let me rant about school drama? Could we do that? I know I don't deserve it, but I'm composing this from my car, which is parked outside our local ice cream shop. It's supposedly closed, but the owner recognizes us. We have been coming here for 3 years. He is staying open late just for us. Stella just arrived in her mother's automobile. She's sitting there, probably gathering up the nerve to enter. Exactly as I am. Sometimes the most difficult conversations begin with the slightest steps. Or, in this case, mint chocolate chip ice cream at midnight. Final update. That night in the ice cream shop altered everything. Stella spoke for hours. About Miles' manipulation. Her anxieties and guilt. But it was something she said in passing that piqued my interest. Miles had asked Jessica to get her friend's parents to invest in his firm as well. Something clicked. I remembered the lawsuits I'd discovered, a pattern of targeting families through their children. The rage I'd been hiding now had a purpose. You know, I explained carefully. What he's doing isn't simply ethically wrong. It is illegal. Stella glanced up from her melting ice cream. What do you mean? I described securities fraud and unlawful investment techniques. Her eyes widened as she took out her phone and showed me the group conversations where Miles was directly soliciting investments from children. That night, after sending Stella off, I made some phone calls. Quinn has a friend in the SEC. Ryan knows someone in the district attorney's office. By the morning, I had a plan. Miles didn't see it coming. He was too preoccupied with his big announcement dinner, where he intended to persuade Stella to hand over her education fund. He had also invited the parents of some of her friends, adding to the list of prospective targets. The dinner was held at an expensive restaurant. Miles was in his element, discussing Silicon Valley connections and assured profits. I waited for the appetizers to arrive before rising up. Before we continue, I said, there are some people who'd like to join us. On cue, 2 federal agents and a state investigator entered. Miles' face changed from confident to confused, to terrified, in seconds. Miles was operating more than one fraud, it seems out. The detectives discovered 7 different fraudulent schemes in 3 jurisdictions. Every time he reconnected with Stella over the years, he would set up new victims. The classic automobile dealership that cost Delilah her funds was part of a broader scam scheme. The food truck franchise follows the same pattern. But here's the beautiful part. He'd gotten sloppy this time. He had documented everything in texts and emails to Stella, believing she would never turn against him. When she forwarded the messages to the investigators, his fate was sealed. Are the parents present at the dinner? They wore wires. Every promise, lie, and illegal investment pitch was recorded. Miles tried to run, knocking over a waiter before sprinting for the door. He took 3 steps before being stopped by security. As they led him away, he gave Stella that manipulative puppy dog expression that she had fallen for so many times. This is all a misunderstanding, sweetie. Tell them. I am your father. Stella stood up, shoulders straight. My father's right here, she said, taking my hand. And he just watched you get exactly what you deserve. The aftermath was intense. News coverage, victim statements, more families are coming forward. The investigators discovered over $2.3 million in stolen funds. Miles estimates 15 to 20 years. His startup consisted solely of a website and some stolen photos of a real tech company's office. But the true victory was not witnessing Miles' arrest. It was the brief moments that followed. Stella placed all of her photos with Miles in a box and donated them to the prosecution. Evidence, she said, with a hint of her old smile. She reapplied to her AP courses. In light of the circumstances, the school was understanding. Instead of being angry, her friends' parents formed a support group for families impacted by similar scams. Something good came from something bad. Stella asked me last night for help with her college essays. I have a pretty unique story now, she explained. How many people can write about bringing down their biological father's fraudulent empire? Delilah and I are in counseling. There is trust to rebuild and wounds to heal. But watching her meticulously place my photos back in the family albums and straighten each one, that expressed more than words could. Stella came down early this morning for breakfast. She carried an envelope with her. I found this in my room, she explained, Passing it across the table. Miles asked me to send it last week. It is investment documentation for his startup. I figured you would want to add it to the evidence file. I stared at the envelope, then at her. Do you want to deliver it to the investigators together? She grinned, the genuine, unrestrained smile I had missed. Can we get ice cream afterwards? Some may argue that the vengeance was excessively severe. Whatever happens, that family is still family. However, a real family does not strive to take your future. A real family will protect you. Even if it means shielding you from other relatives. Miles' sentencing date is next month. Stella plans to read a victim impact statement. She spent weeks working on it, painstakingly rewriting each word. She requested me to review it yesterday. It needs a good ending, she went on. Something that shows I'm not just his victim anymore. I believe she's already found that ending. It's in the way she holds her head up right now. In how she assists other children in identifying similar schemes. In the college brochures on her desk. Her actual route. Not the one Miles attempted to sell her. Moving on sometimes entails ensuring that the past does not harm others. And sometimes, the finest retribution isn't simply watching someone face consequences, it is thriving despite them. We are having a family meal tonight. Only the three of us. Stella's making her famous pasta sauce, which she learnt while watching cooking videos with me during lockdown. Normal, boring, and wonderful. Things related to the family. Miles will have plenty of time to ponder about these things from his cell.